Conformity International is an accredited certification body. We are accredited by SANS 17065 and the various cable standards in South Africa, both local and international standards. The role we play is that we offer certification services from type 1 all the way through to type 5, certification scheme services, where we audit factories, select samples, have them tested, review the results, and ensure that our clients who have the Conformity International mark are then capable of producing the cables to the required standards in South Africa continuously. Certification is important in cable manufacturing because it indicates to the buyer or the consumer that the company which obtains certification is capable of producing the respective cables to the required standards that are used in South Africa. Some of these are also regulated standards, so it means that it's a legal requirement for the companies to comply with the relevant requirements of the standards. We pride ourselves on having technical expertise with 20 plus years experience in the cable industry, but also in the conformity assessment industry, so whether that is testing, certification, or combinations of thereof. And hence, we are able to assess the factory, assess their production capabilities, assess the weak points in their manufacturing, select respective samples to cover the range of manufacturing, and give the consumer and the end buyer, but also the manufacturer, that peace of mind that a highly skilled technical person has assessed the factory and the cables that come out of that factory are then compliant to the relevant requirements of the legislation, but also the relevant standards that they are made to. SANS stands for the South African National Accreditation System. It is the only accreditation body in South Africa, the national accreditation body. They're a signatory to both ILAC and the IAF. IAF is the International Accreditation Forum, which allows signatories to then accredit specific certification bodies to the relevant standards. So for certification, SANS ISO IEC 17065 is the standard that governs our operations. So this is whereby SANS evaluates our competencies, our team's competencies, our capabilities of assessing factories. Therefore, having accreditation means that we are continuously checked and verified and that we are capable of performing the job that we do, just as we then go and certify factories for their specific products. It allows a third party to look at it and say, okay, this company is accredited, they know what they're doing, they are authorized to certify a manufacturer. Both Conformity International and the SABS are accredited by SANS. SANS is the South African National Accreditation System, which is effectively the body that verifies that both of us are capable of administering certification in the cable industry or whatever our scope entails. So both of us have SANS accreditation for the full range of cables within the used in the South African industry. And all accredited bodies, whether it's Conformity International or SABS or other bodies that also have their same accreditation in the future, need to follow the same processes, follow the same rules, and follow very similar processes to get to a final outcome of ensuring that the manufacturers are capable of producing the relevant cables to the required standards. So when a certificate is issued, whether it's a Conformity International certificate or an SABS certificate is issued, they are both SANS accredited, same certificates for the relevant cables that are listed on that certificate in relation to the relevant standards that those cables are manufactured to. I will list the process for a Type 5 certification scheme, which is the most stringent certification scheme. So initially there's an application from the client which is reviewed, which then outlines the factory's capabilities, which range of cables within the standard they would like to have certified, the location of the factory, etc. An audit is then scheduled with the factory, whereby a Conformity International auditor will travel, or auditors will travel to the factory and do a full factory assessment. This is pre-permit. where the auditors will review the quality management system related to production activities. We will review the production capabilities, the internal quality control, the internal laboratory operation, importantly, the traceability of the cable manufacturing process, and also the way in which the factory deals with both incoming goods, but also with their clients, how they handle customer complaints, etc. That whole process is analyzed, and during the process also samples are selected for testing. The samples are sent to accredited laboratories, laboratories that are accredited to the relevant standards, for example, the SANS standards, and those samples are representative of the range that the manufacturing body would like to have certified. Once the audit is successfully completed, there can be findings, and the manufacturer will have an opportunity to close those findings out. Depending on the nature of the findings, we may need to go back and verify the closing of the findings successfully. Once the audit is successfully completed and once the testing is successfully completed, then a complete pack is handed over to our internal review committee. The internal review committee then assesses the whole audit process, including the test reports, and then authorizes the issuing of the certification to the manufacturer. Once that is done, an official certificate is then issued to the manufacturer, and Conformity International also then assists the manufacturer in their LOA process if required, if it is a regulated standard, to ensure that both the certification requirements are met and the regulatory requirements of South Africa are met. Conformity International is an accredited certification body, and it's accredited for all of the SANS standards relevant to the cable industry. Hence, we have an in-depth knowledge of the standards themselves. We also sit on the relevant technical committees that govern the development and the upkeep of the standards. When a manufacturer approaches Conformity International, we are therefore able to advise on which standards are applicable for which cables require regulatory compliance in addition to certification compliance, etc. Once our client is certified by Conformity International, it means that there are regular audits, minimum once per year, but sometimes more than once. Audits of the factories, that samples are continuously drawn and tested at accredited laboratories. And all of this is done to ensure that the manufacturer is capable of continuously producing the standards to the requirements of the South African national standards. It also ensures that the range of production is covered in terms of assessment, both from an auditory assessment and also from a testing assessment, because different samples will be tested at different stages of the certification process to ensure that the full range of production covered by the specific standards is included in the testing and certification processes. Therefore, what this does is it ensures that the manufacturer who has Conformity International's mark for their cable is capable of continuously producing the cables to the requirements of the standard and the regulation. The experts within Conformity International sit on a number of technical committees, including technical committees related to cable manufacturing. In these committees, we discuss at length the standards that are used in the South African market, not just cable manufacturing, also accessories, installation of cables, etc. And in those discussions, a lot of the local manufacturers, also the Association of Cable Manufacturers is present, and a lot of the manufacturers themselves are present, or they're experts. So there's an ongoing discussion to ensure that the South African standards for cables and cable installation are relevant to our local conditions, but also are relevant to the safety requirements of the South African market. And in doing so, then Conformity International effectively assesses the local companies' capabilities of producing the cables to those required standards that everybody has agreed to. So in that way, we also assess the factories and ensure that they are compliant to the standards that are set out. We also sit on the standards development bodies, so that kind of closes that loop. between what the standards require versus what the manufacturers are producing.